Well, once in a while, we sometimes have to fix drywall in our walls. Kids put holes in them for whatever reason, so I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. First of all, I'm going to cut out the damaged piece of drywall with a drywall knife. Make a nice square hole, and I'm going to use a piece of backing which I'm going to fit my new piece of drywall into. As you can see, I'm just using a couple of screws to hold that backing in. And then once that backing's in, I'm going to cut a little piece of drywall to fit into there. As you can see, I used a screw in the middle of the backing to hold it while I fit that piece in. And then I take it out once the backing is totally secure. And there's a piece of drywall I've cut to fit in, and I'm going to screw that into the backing. A couple of screws is fine, just to hold that piece of drywall in. Now I'm going to get some mud. This is the dust control. You can use any mud you really want. And I'm taking my 3-inch putty knife just to basically get all the edges covered, because I'm going to be using some mesh tape to cover those edges in a minute. The mesh tape goes on easily. You can also call it fiberglass tape. And I've already got some drywall mud on there, so it's going to stick nicely. And I'll go all the way around my piece. And once that's in, I'm going to apply some more mud. I want to make sure there's no bubbles or no air back there, so I can securely get my mud in there. And the first coat is just going to be a light coat, just to sort of cover the mesh. I'm just ferreting it out a little bit. That's what you always want to do, because at the end of the project you want to make sure that nobody can actually see where the damage was. So just the first coat is nice and light. The mesh is still going to be showing, and I'm going to let this dry. And this is what it looks like after the first coat. You can still see the mesh there, and that was intentional. So once it's dry, I'm just taking a little bit of sand block. I'm just going to sand it down smoothly, so just very lightly, just to get rid of any rough edges. And now I'm going to put my second coat of mud on. This one I'll use like a 5-inch putty knife, and I'm ferreting it out. And with this one, I'm going to basically try to cover the mesh tape there. Just apply it nice and evenly. Ferret it out as much as you can. And once it's dry, I'm going to sand it down once again. And now I'm going to actually apply my third coat of mud. And that's a 10-inch knife. And now I'm going to ferret it all out. At this point, you can see that you can't even tell where the actual joint was, or where the actual patch was, because I ferreted it out evenly. And with the big putty knife, you can do that. It's all about being patient. And this is when it's dry. You can see that the patch is totally covered. And now the final thing to do is sand it down with like 160 grit. And the drywall patch is done. And it'll be ready for primer and paint. And there we go. Job done.